Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Holtz Mitchell channel and another Hot Shop Tips. Today we're going to be looking at a work holding problem. Now, most of you will probably never encounter this problem, but the other day I started making a part that requires a perpendicular bore. Now, normally you would accomplish this by putting a piece of stock into a dividing head and then rotating it however many degrees. In this case, they have to be perpendicular, so i.e. 90 degrees to one another. And so you just rotate the workpiece 90 degrees, advance it, and drill your hole. Now, you have a through hole, but this piece of stock is bigger than that through hole, so you can't really put in a longer piece. Oh yeah, you could probably double it up, but there again, there's issues again with depth and so forth. And so I decided to go ahead and just go to finish dimension on the part, and then figure out a new way of holding it. Now, perpendicularity is sometimes a real tricky thing to achieve in a short part in the vise. And so what I did is I made a slug that goes into the bore, and just like this. And this is where precision matters. The slug is the exact same length as the diameter of the workpiece. And so let's take a look on the Bridgeport how we're going to hold this thing. So here you see we've got our workpiece, our slug, and now we're just going to go ahead and lay it on a parallel, because we got to get up off the vise. This is going to be a through hole. Now here's another little hot shop tip. I'm using the vise, the edge of the vise jaws, as my stop. I don't have a permanent stop. I don't want to weaken the vise by putting a stop on it or setting up an external stop and just kind of being in the way of everything. So here we are, just putting this thing in the vise. So as you can see, we're going to go ahead and drill it, pre-drill it, and then step it up from a 4mm to 10mm, then from 10mm to 22mm. And here's another little hot shop tip. I have a table where it shows ideal feeds and speeds of drill bits, and so going off that table, I dropped the speed of the drill by half. We're starting into the hole with the hand feed on the quill. The Bridgeport has, you know, an automatic feed, and you can run that feed manually. And so what we're doing here is running it. We're starting the hole with the manual portion of the automatic feed, and that's to prevent a lot of deflection in the drill bit and the tool. Now we're going to ream this to an exact measurement. You know, the slug here is a 22 millimeter. These are holders for a machine, and so the arms that these things hold are exactly 22 millimeters. So we're going to ream this to an H7 slip fit, and we're doing that here with this Morse taper reamer. And here's another hot shop tip when you're drilling. When you are drilling at one speed and you have to ream the hole, cut that speed in half again. So, and we're using coolant on this. Now the other thing you can do if you don't have a coolant set up on your machine, you can use shaving cream. I did a video on that separately, so that's something you can always fall back onto, or any kind of lubricant really will do the trick. So if all you have is one of these little cheap vices right here with one of these prism jaws, not prison but prism jaws, in other words there's a V-groove cut into one of the jaws, you want to make sure you put a parallel that will bring the apex of that round stock above that prism. Otherwise you're going to have problems with fit and all that, where the thing won't quite grip right. So there are ways of working around, you know, limitations of your tooling in the shop. Now when you're doing stuff like this, you really got to tie it down. You can't hand hold these kind of bores, especially if it goes anything over ½ inch. You really shouldn't be trying to hold it by hand. It's just gonna end up in disaster. So bolt all this stuff down and make sure you're where you need to be on your location, so that way you don't have any problems. So anyway, that's a wrap for today's little episode of Hot Shop Tips. Hope you guys were able to glean a little useful information out of today's subject matter. If you have any thoughts, comments, critiques, suggestions, or questions, by all means put them in the comments section below. Little interaction is always welcome in the channel. Kind of shows the YouTube algorithm that, hey, the folks are interacting with the content. So with that, thanks for stopping by, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you all soon in the next video.